today's live stream. And first of all, I want to introduce my team, the company, Pecunio, to you, and especially I want to answer all your questions and remarks. So yeah, that we are ready to launch our ICO successfully. Yeah, let's start a short introduction. I'm sure you have already heard a bit about Pecunio. I want to start with my personal introduction. My name is Reinhard Berger. I'm coming out of the consulting and finance discipline. I worked after my graduation. I'm a trained computer scientist with an MBA in general management. And after my graduation, I worked for several consultancies in Europe as well as in the United States, in Chicago. And the first company was Accenture, which is one of the largest, or still guess the largest consultancy in the world, as well as for Capgemini. So during these tenures, I learned a lot about how traditional financial markets work, because we were not concerned with trading so much, but we built the systems the traders use. So, and there I learned a lot about how technology is changing our lives. Then I moved on because I always wanted to create something meaningful and give back to society. So I moved along, and together with partners, I founded MetaFund, which is a brand of alternative investments, a Liechtenstein-based hedge fund company. And for a couple of years we traded in different aspects, and especially in the CTA, commodity trading advisor markets. So there I got I guess a quite a good feeling and experience on portfolio management, diversification, and yeah, risk avoidance. So that's where I started from, and I had an experience of about 15 years combined in the financial markets industry. So then came along, yeah, the cryptocurrencies, and as maybe some of you or a lot of people, at the beginning I was thinking it's more like, yeah, it's like a speculation game, and yeah, I opened an account or a wallet and traded some back and forth, and I found it quite funny. But then I found out that, I mean, for me as a trained computer scientist, it's not so much of a problem to deal with private keys and public keys and stuff like that. So we heard these concepts are not really new. When this goes back to the 80s or even 70s, when we're talking about encryption and encryption algorithms. So I was quite familiar with these things, but you know, for people, everyday people, it's much too complicated. So what I had in mind is to build a system or a platform which makes it easier for, let's say, non-trained computer scientists to work with these kind of assets, crypto assets. And then the idea of Pecunio was born. Pecunio is a platform which allows the average investor or average user to work with cryptocurrencies and blockchain assets. So in order to, you know, to get rid of the whole of the whole wallet stuff, the whole KYC and so on. You just do it once and then you're in. So that was the start of Pecunio, and obviously this is quite a, 2 years in, or fast almost 2 years in blockchain space it's like 20 years in the traditional finance world. So things have moved along, and it's always important, if you build a company, if you build a platform and a community, to be always on the move, because you don't want to just provide a product, because a product is, as you know, a product is outdated very soon. So, but you want to build a community, a platform, a brand which is long lasting. So that was the idea, the whole idea behind Pecunio. So the fund was only the first, the beginning, which we created in 2017. Our flagship fund, the PCC, is now live and working more than half a year. It's one of the best tokenized funds worldwide, and we're quite proud of it. So, and the second, what also is very important, that was our first really strong partnership with a company called Economy. I'm sure many of you know them. They are kind of one of the pioneers in blockchain technologies. They started very early on in 2014. They did their ICO in 2016 with around $5 million, which was amazing back then. And by now, they're one of the really, really strong contenders in terms of the background of the underlying technology. We are proud to work with them, and they are strong partners, and they're really dedicated to the infrastructure part, right? So this is for us very important to have a set or a whole range of partners where we can rely on, because it is a very fast-moving space, and we need to be always ahead of the curve. So that was our, let's say, our humble beginnings, and then it was only a matter of time when there was many people came up with to us and said, well, okay, we understand. Now it's you have a platform, you can invest, you can buy cryptocurrencies, you can buy the funds. And by the way, we don't rely on just one fund. We have several portfolios. So we have a strong basis for that. But still, we wanted to create more. And this more is the community. Today we have a community of almost 100,000 users on our platform, which enables us to do what we do. To be a strong company with strong partners and a strong network of supporters and influencers around the globe. So one thing is what I want to especially point out, that still it is very important to make blockchain technology accessible for the everyday user, which means that it is safe, it is easy, it is fast, and it is affordable, right? So, and this is really a revolution, because blockchain technologies will be around in not only in 1 year, 2 years, it will be around in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. It is it's a technology which will really shape how people will do payments, business, and many other business-related contextual things in the years to come. So, what next is we of course needed to develop something to store value, which is the wallets and the dashboard. Most of you already know. What we also have is a cooperation with the card issuer who allows us to make the crypto assets spendable. Because this is very important. It is not only to move into crypto, which is one thing, but you also want to use your crypto to move it out, right? And the funds. So that was the beginning. A whole range of, let's say, services, products, uses, because as you know, it is very, very important to have working products. We're not the ones who say, well, we got a white paper, we have a great idea, let's go for it and collect, some funding. No, the point is that still, although, it's a very new technology, it's a very hot market, still the principles of traditional investment or tech investment apply. That means you have to have working products, you have to have revenues before you do the next step. Right, that leads us to the next topic. Many of you have asked me, hey guys, why are you in Dubai? Is it because the weather is so nice there? I can assure you the weather right now in winter it's good, it's very nice. However, you don't want to be around in June, July, because it's about up to 50 degrees, so this is not the reason. No, the reason is something completely different. Dubai is one of the most thriving environments on the planet at the moment, and they're building since about more than 10 years. They're not only building, visual property, as you can see on this picture. They're building a lot of technological infrastructure. And one of the parts is the blockchain environment they built. So for example, Dubai is one of the first governments in the world to put their land register on the blockchain. So that means that by 2020, 2021, you will be able to purchase and to transfer land deeds via the blockchain. Isn't that revolutionary? So this is something you really need to see. So whenever you get a chance to go there and talk to people, and this is a great environment also for businesses, because as you know, we don't want to start and solve all the technicalities of whatever regulations you must comply and go for months-long due diligences. No, in Dubai it's very, very different. In Dubai they embrace technology, they embrace innovation, and as long as there's a viable business model, you're all set up, right? And this is something which is really, really remarkable. And I can assure you that Dubai will become a major hub for blockchain innovation in the years to come. I see a lot of blockchain leaders coming in from Russia, from Asia, from Korea, from Japan, from the United States, from Europe, all with one goal, to set up blockchain innovation. So the Emirates is really a very cool place to be, and that's why we are there. Our flagship product for the time to come is our gold coin. Why is that? I remember reading, it was about, I think, mid-year 2017, which I had with the guys from Economy. And they said these guys are really doing a great job, and on their platform they have around 200 or 300 million US dollar in Ether and other cryptocurrencies. And what we discussed is how can you make sure that, for example, when there is a steep market drop, how can you make sure that your value, the value of your assets, doesn't decline? And the only way is to have a so-called stable coin. A stable coin is a currency that allows you, not only to transfer, but which is also tagged to a physical asset. In our case, it's gold, because gold is obviously for 5,000 years and in very high demand, and it is not expected that it will drop by a larger portion ever, right? So it's over the years, what you can see is there are a lot of currencies, government currencies, they come and they go, they disappear, and one day maybe even the US dollar or the euro will disappear, and governments will issue something else. Like for example, when you go 100 years back in Europe, there were a lot of currencies. There were the kroner, like in the Austrian Empire, which was a big empire, also the German Empire, also in France, there were francs. All of this is gone. So there is not a 100% certainty on these things. But where certainty, really as certain as you can get, it's the gold. And gold has another advantage. It is value on a very condensed or compressed space. So what you can do is you can move it around and you can redeem and withdraw. And this was important for us because, there are a lot of, and to be very clear, we are not the first to come up with a coin like this, with a coin idea like this. But the point is, we are the first that really have the asset behind. Because what's the value of a token with no physical asset as a backup? So that was the principal idea of the gold token. To make it easier, or at least or make it possible in a market downturn like we experienced the last couple of days. I don't know what's the price of Ethereum today. It's something like 530. Yesterday it was 540 or so. Just to see that we are live, right? Well, I mean this is a big drop in the market. So from one day to another day, you can experience a loss of capital of maybe, let's say, 10%, 20%, 30%, and that's not bearable. That's not sustainable. So what I discussed with the guys in Slovenia is how can you have a cryptocurrency, because it has to be cryptocurrency, yeah, because there are, we are no banks, and so it should be, it has to be a cryptocurrency which is stable in value. And the only way you can do that is to have the token tied to something which is really valuable. And I can tell you, this token, the Pecunio gold coin, will be the first and the only one who has this one-to-one tie, right? And as soon as we mint the first tokens, the same second there will be the bars, right? So not the other way around, because many companies and teams are minting tokens, which is not so much of a problem. As you know, you can look Facebook or YouTube videos where in 5 or 10 minutes you can mint 1 million or even 1 billion of tokens. So that's not the art. The art is really to bridge the blockchain technology, the world of blockchain technology, with the world of traditional assets, and that's what we're gonna do with the gold coin. So we'll have it stored. You'll be able to see it, or at least you will have reports on a regular basis. And most importantly, I talked to my guys and said, hey, I mean the main advantage for this token is to move it around, of course, right? You want to combine the advantages of blockchain with the advantages of gold. So the advantage of gold, obviously, it conserves value. Yeah, it expresses value. It is the value. I mean, as long as you can express material value in any sense, it's the gold, right? So, and whether it's 1.5% up or down, you know, it's in tendency, it's a value of increasing with increasing properties, right? So we can well expect that from 20 years from now, the value of gold expressed in euro or US dollar or other currencies will be much higher than now, right? But as we always say, it's not about investment in gold, it is about the ties between the blockchain technology and the traditional world. So what the catch is, what is really important is that there is a one-to-one relationship. There shall be no inflation, there shall be no sophisticated model behind. So that means that we are not aiming at, you know, at the explosion on the market of the value, but we should have a stable value, right? And this brings us to the real kicker. You know what the real kicker is? I'm sure many of you you know Kevin Leary, and we had this session where he said, well, you know why the Bitcoin is not good for B2B business, because when I send, let's say I'm a supplier from China, you want to buy in the US, you want to buy some stuff. You send me a Bitcoin the same second, you can drop for 5 or 10 or 20%. Back then, you know, everybody laughed because, you know, Bitcoin was all the way rising, and so nobody really, you know, took it very serious. But now we see it can happen. I mean, Ethereum is down about a third in just a week, and this is really, yeah, this is really life-threatening if you do B2B business, because, you know, your profit margin maybe is very narrow, and then you can afford to have such a slippage. So that's why what we predict is that the real killer application for B2B payments will be such a stable coin. And I think Pecunio and the Pecunio gold token is well or best positioned to capture that opportunity. Because, I mean, I don't want to run the numbers right now, but you know, the worldwide B2B payments volume is amazing. And for example, if you just try it out, you send US dollars to China, you send euro, for example, from Europe to Dubai, it takes you between 3 and 5 days to clear and to settle, all in all. And it costs you a lot. Well, with the gold coin, you know, this transaction settled within, let's say, 15 minutes or 5 minutes even, depending on, you know, network speed and how much you're willing to pay. And the average Ethereum transaction costs you, you know, cents on the dollar, right? So you can transfer, let's say, 100K, 500K for cents on the dollar. And that's a killer application. That's what we're gonna do, right? So this is where we had, and as a surprise, you know, to conclude, what you see, this is our target, Nasdaq 2020. You know, we were invited to Nasdaq to explain a little bit about our company, our business model, our community, our influencer and advisor network. And we had the opportunity to discuss a little bit about the future also there. And there's a very good chance and prospect that we'll be able in 2020, so in about 2 years from now, to be able to hit the Nasdaq, not only for doing a series of interviews, but really to be the first blockchain company, or one of the first blockchain companies on Nasdaq, right? So, At the moment, we are already the most important blockchain company in Dubai. And what we're going to do, or what we want to achieve, is to hit the Nasdaq stock exchange in 2020. Yeah. So this is what is our intention, and our motto is, as you know, get your share of the future, right? And this is a stock exchange. We will have our shares there traded, high liquidity, and really pave the way for this tremendous opportunity. I mean, there's other technologies that will shape our lives as well, which is, for example, nanotechnology, which is artificial intelligence. A lot has been written about it, and a lot of discussions going on, and also space exploration. So there's a couple of technologies that really will, in technology, of course, these technologies will shape our lives in the future, and not only our lives, but also our children and grandchildren. And I'm very, very much sure that blockchain technology is one of them, right? It is really a disruptive innovation. We're not talking about speculation, not talking about trading and trading bots and stuff like that. It's really about the underlying technology that will change our lives. You bet, you can be sure. And with Pecunio and Pecunio's gold coin, you can be part of this revolution. So I hope you're going to join us on our journey. It's really a lot of fun to be connected to great people all over the world. Just, send me an email, or better, connect via LinkedIn. I'm always happy to get in touch with you. Let me know what you think. Let me know your suggestions and remarks, and glad to connect to you. So, for example, LinkedIn, my profile, Pecunio, Reinhard Berger, just send me a connect. Right. So, thanks a lot. And yeah, that's what Pecunio is, a share of the future. And yeah, now I'm happy to take your questions, and we'll a little bit explain on that.